name is Brendan Kendall, and I am an associate professor with the Department of Communication Studies at MSU Denver. I'm here to help you answer a question that's on most students' minds, especially near the end of a semester or course of any length. That question is, where am I in this class? How am I doing? Can I get that A that I want? Most students go about answering this question in a way that gives them kind of useless data. They look for a percentage of the total of the course earned so far. I'm going to show you how you can answer that question more specifically and in a way that helps you understand what's required of you to get the grade that you want. Let me share my screen with you to show you this. What we see here is a spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet is going to lay out in the green the assignments in our imaginary course and your scores for these imaginary assignments. In blue, over here on the right, you're going to see the grading scheme for this class. It's a fairly standard one. If you earn 90% of the total possible points, you get an A. If you earn 80%, you get a B, and so forth. Our course has 100 points, so 90% is also 90 points. A B, 80%, is also 80 points, and a C, of course, is 70 points. We're going to focus on what's here at the bottom in yellow in just a moment, but let me walk you through what you've done so far in this imaginary class. So draw your attention here to the green. These are the assignments down the left-hand side. You have one speech and a second speech. You've got your first paper and a second paper, and at the end of this imaginary class, there's a final exam. Let us imagine that we're near the end of the semester. You have turned in and have had returned to you scores for the speech 1, speech 2, paper 1, paper 2 assignments. So all of those assignments have been submitted, scored, and returned to you. You've not yet taken the final exam in this course. There are 100 points in this class, and you'll see that here in the light green area. So your first speech was worth 10 points. The second speech was worth up to 20 points. The first paper was worth up to 20 points, and the second paper was worth up to 30 points. Your final exam, the assignment you've not yet completed, that's worth 20 points. So let's take a look at what your scores were on these assignments. For the 10 points that were available for speech 1, you earned 8 points. For speech 2, you earned 18 points out of 20 possible points. For paper 1, whoa, you crushed it. 100%, way to go, you got 20 out of 20. And for paper number 2, you earned 26 points out of 30 points. So again, you've scored 8, 18, 20, and 26 out of 10, 20, 20, and 30. You have 20 points remaining for the final exam, and you, of course, haven't taken it, so you've got no points. Now that we've looked at the green section, the points that you've earned, right, let's look at the yellow section, where I'm going to show you several formula that I think are valuable to you. The first thing that you want to do is total up your points. Now, some grading systems will do that for you automatically. You might have to add up your points. But in any case, total up the number of points you've earned to date. That is this far in the class. You have, in our imagined scene, earned 72 points. That is 8 plus 18 plus 20 plus 26 equals 72. How many points are left or are ungraded? So these are the total number of points that you haven't completed yet, so any assignments you haven't turned in, and any assignments that haven't been returned to you. So you might have submitted them, but you don't have a score for them yet. In our case, you have one assignment worth 20 points remaining, so there are 20 ungraded points. Your percentage of the total to date is 72%. This is really only useful to tell you that if you completely fail, right, the final exam or skip the exam entirely, you have a C in this course. You have 72% of the total possible points, right? You've earned 72 points out of 100. Most students will say, oh my gosh, I'm at a C, but that's not particularly useful in figuring, well, how might you do after, right, you've completed the final exam? And more importantly, what do you need to do, right, in order to achieve a grade you want in the course? If you just want a C, you don't even have to take the final exam, right? You could just skip it and you get a 72. But that's all that really tells us. I want you to go one step further. And on this one, you've earned 28 points out of 30 possible points. So what's happened is that we see some new scores down here. Your new total to date, now that you've earned these points up here that we've just modified, your new total is 76 points. There still remains 20 ungraded points, right? Same scenario. We haven't taken the final exam yet. You're currently at 76%. Oh gosh, still a C. But watch this. The differential changes, right? When we subtract the number of points you need in order to earn an A, right? When we subtract from that your current total, we get 14. That is the difference between 90 and 76 is 14. So you need to earn 14 points out of 20 on the final exam in order to get an A. Now, instead of needing to get an A on the final exam in order to earn an A in the course, what we find is that all you need to do is score 70%, right, of the total possible points. You need to get a C on the final exam in order to get an A. Does this make sense? Right? Let's take a look at this, though, for a student who's not done as well as this second scenario would have us see or believe. So for speech 1, let's assume you got a 7 out of 10. And for speech 2, let's assume you got a 15 out of 20. For paper 1, maybe still pretty good, but it's an 18 out of 20. And for paper 2, let's say it didn't go particularly well, right? And you earned 21 out of 30. Okay, not as well as in the previous scenarios. What we see here is, right, your total score to date has dropped to 61 points. Okay, again, unchanged. The number of points ungraded in this class, it's the final exam, 20 points. So you're at 61% in the whole class. Oh gosh, it's a D, I'm failing. Well, not really, right? Because what's the differential with an A grade? Well, that differential is 29 points. That is, you are almost 30 points away from the number of points you need to earn an A, right? You're almost 30 points away from 90 points, which you need to get an A in the class. Well, what happens to the differential here, right? The percentage of ungraded points that you need to get an A, look at that number. That's 145%. When you do this calculation, if that number is over 100%, right? Well, then you're out of luck. You won't be able to earn the grade that you're calculating for because you can only earn up to 100% of the points offered on the next assignment. So an A is out of the question. But let's assume that you maybe realize this. Okay, 145%, I guess I can't make that. Well, you realize this and you say, I hope to get a B. All you need to do is go up here, right? Go up here and calculate, right? Oops, sorry, my bad. Go up here, right, to C11. All you need to do in this case to adjust to see, am I going to get a B in the class, is change the differential. So in this case, I'm going to take your total and I'm going to subtract it not from 90, but from 80, changing the function here. So here's the differential, right? A is 19 points. Aha, look what's happened. In order to get a B in the class, because now we're subtracting from 80, not 90, we see a difference here. You need to earn 95% of the ungraded points that are left. Well, what this tells you is you need to get a pretty high A. You need to do really well on that final exam in order to get a B in the course. So study, study, study. Look on the internet for effective study techniques. Cramming is not particularly effective in boosting memory and learning outcomes. So, study and study smartly. If we adjust again, am I going to pass this class, get a C? We simply go here and the differential we calculate for is, right, 70 minus the total number of points that you've scored to date, okay? And you are only 9 points away from getting a C. In this case, you could fail the final exam. You could get, say, 49%, 50% of the total possible points, meaning 10 points out of 20, and you'd still get a C in the course, right? So things are looking good, but don't blow it off. Study hard, study smart, and you now have a sense of how likely am I to earn an A? In this scenario, you will not earn an A in this course. How likely am I to earn a B? Well, I've got to really crush it on the final exam to get a B. How likely am I just to pass this class? Well, things look pretty good. And, given some of your work to date, I don't think you're at risk of failing the final exam, but you should hit the books to make sure you do as well as possible and ensure that you get more than a D right on the final exam in order to be comfortable. This is how you can calculate where you are in a course. So this is how you can avoid sending an email that some professors might find obnoxious, the "How am I doing in this class, Doc?" email. All you have to do is have all of your points available to you. So look for the repository of your scores to date, your totals, and then you can simply follow this technique to figure out where you are in the course and how you need to perform into the future through the end of the semester in order to get the grade you're looking for. I hope after you're able to make this calculation, you find good news and you're likely to get the grade that you want. Work hard, study well, and we'll see you in another video. Cheers.